One of the great things about the show Perspectives with Eric Reynolds is that every week focuses on a different topic. It can be fun, informative, but sometimes it's also very serious. This topic is we're taking a look at violent crime on the rise and what's being done to hopefully slow down or stop the trend. Eric joins me now on Studio 10 with a preview of this week's Perspectives. Eric, good to see you.
Good morning, Joe.
All right, so we're talking about violent crime on the rise, and you're talking to two local leaders who are going to give some insight into that. But let's just go back to the topic in general. What are we looking at here?
We're looking at what's happened in the last 3 years, and of course the COVID year sort of painted a different picture in some places, but nationally, as far as the FBI is concerned, we had an uptick from 19, 20, and now 21 in many cases. For some police departments, they're dealing with an increased number. We're running sort of neck to neck right now, but we still have at least 8 weeks left of this year, so very sadly. And then every morning we come in, especially on Mondays, it seems that we come in and we report another homicide or a shooting where a gun has been used to commit a crime. And so no different this morning or on that Monday morning of this week. And so when we look at that situation, we are talking to the public safety director as well as our new police chief, but he's been in Mobile for more than 20 years, so he knows the street here, as well as the homicide. He's the commander of the homicide division. And so we talk about what's going on, why the uptick in Mobile, because of course it's different in many cities. Alabama, though, many of our cities also having that are major cities. So we talk about why, we talk about what they're doing, new programs, we talk about safe streets, we talk about the technology being used, and so we're looking at what else is possible, because some of that is really out of their control. It's up to us as citizens to make a difference in our own community.
Well, sometimes to stop a problem or an issue, you have to first determine what is the cause of what's going on. Do they talk a little bit about why it's trending upward?
We do. Yeah. And sadly, there's some investment into community infrastructure that needs to be made in some places, because sometimes these things happen when there are a large number in the same general vicinity in certain areas, or the demographics and statistics of the people's lives are very similar. And so they do have programs that do community intervention, which is one way to attack it. Also building community information, the watchdog programs.
Right.
And so those things are definitely a part of it. But unfortunately for our police, they usually have to respond, not be there on the front end before these things happen. And so they've cut down their response time, which is good for the victim in many cases. But yeah, it's a problem that we're seeing that the communities themselves are going to have to play an integral part in changing some of these numbers that we're seeing.
Yeah, and of course, Public Safety Director Batiste has been around for some time now. He was the chief of police. But do you talk to the new chief, Mr. Prine, about what he plans to do moving in and taking charge of this?
Right. He's looking at some possibly some new programs, but he says nothing new where no one else has talked about it. But you know, implementing some of these things, of course, that takes money and personnel, which is another part of the issue that we're dealing with always. But great attitude, and somebody who loves the community, and he served, again, over 20 years on the force here. So, he has a feel for what his people are going through, as well as what's happening in these communities, because sometimes certain things happen in the same community over and over again. And so they are looking at how we can help those communities become safer and people more on the button of let's stop these things from happening.
So obviously this is an issue where everybody out there wants less violent crime. To hear more about this, gather more information, when can they watch this episode of Perspective?
Please join us this Saturday morning at 8:30, of course, right here on Fox 10. And if you happen to miss this program, please check it out on our YouTube channel or our website, because they're basically asking us to partner together with law enforcement to make a difference in our own communities.
They can't do it alone. They need the community's help. You can start by tuning in this Saturday morning. Eric, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Joe.